2013-14 men's basketball season is underway. We sat down with senior center Chris Patton just prior to Midnight Madness to get his take on the upcoming campaign.
Chris, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're about a week out for Midnight Madness, a few days away. Practice has already begun. First real games only 2 weeks from now, but you've had some time to prepare for this season. Take me back to the summer. What did you do to prepare for the season personally to improve as a player?
I played a lot this summer. That was one of my main goals, was to get in as many pickup games, open gym. Played all over Southern California. Played with a lot of NBA players and European players. So I was really trying to work on my left hand, improve my speed a little bit, improve my strength, improve my overall game. But really was focusing on my left hand a lot this summer.
Well, one of the things that the team's going to benefit from this year is the ability to practice a little earlier than we normally might have. With the trip to Vancouver, we were able to practice for a couple of weeks before that trip. First, speak to the trip to Vancouver. What was that like? Had you ever been to Vancouver, and what was the whole experience like for you and the team?
No, I'd never been to Canada. So I was really excited to get up there, and it was a beautiful city right on the water, and a lot of trees, and just really nice nature and parks, that kind of stuff. It was a really good experience for the team. We learned a lot about ourselves, about the coaches, about our roles. I think everyone kind of has their role defined now on the team. Going into the Vancouver trip, I think guys were a little bit unsure about where they fit in. So coming back, we got 3 good wins against 3 pretty decent teams. So we feel really confident. But it really just gave us an opportunity also to get to know each other a lot better and bond a lot. I roomed with Nick Gruniger on the trip, and me and him got pretty close from that. And I think a lot of the guys kind of formed tighter relationships with just everybody.
Well, you mentioned one of the positives of going to Vancouver was being able to work with the coaching staff. Partially a new coaching staff. Dennis Cutts was promoted to the interim head coach, and he brought a couple of new people in. What was it like seeing Dennis in that head coach's role after having played for him as a year and as assistant?
It was great. I was really happy for him. I already had a pretty tight relationship with Coach before he was moved up to the head coaching before he was moving up to the head coaching job, and I knew he had bigger aspirations, and me and him had talked about coaching a few times and had some really good talks. So I was really excited for him, and after that first win, it was great that the first game he's ever a head coach of, we got a really good win against a really big, loud away crowd. I could see the passion in him. You see it every day at practice, how passionate he is about the team and how much he really cares about individually each guy and improving each guy. Spends a lot of time on working on skill work. So you can really see how much he really wants this.
Well, let's turn to the players a little bit. You mentioned some of the newcomers. You roomed with one of the newcomers to the squad this year. Who's impressed you so far among that class? And it's a group that's actually a little older than last year's newcomers, which was predominantly freshmen.
Yeah, they're a lot older. I think most of the juniors are older than me, and I'm a senior, so that's a little bit different. But they've all really impressed me. They all bring something different to the table. Nick's going to be he's going to be a really good point guard for us, steady with the ball, really smart. He's not going to make a whole lot of mistakes. He's going to feed everybody. He's very unselfish. Colin's going to be a really solid guy for us. And then Steve Thornton is just he just brings you a little bit of everything. He's a bit of a jack of all trades. So I'm really excited about those newcomers. Sam's the only freshman, and he's a funny character. He had a really good Vancouver trip. I think he led the team second leading scorer on the trip, and he was really just a killer out there. Every time he touched the ball, he looked like he was going to score it or do something good with it. And that was something that we were kind of lacking last year, scoring from the guard position. He's very comfortable doing that. That's what he likes to do. And he did it in a high rate in Vancouver, so that was really exciting to see.
Let's talk about the returning players. The only graduating senior last year was Robert Smith. Bring back Chris Harriel, a number of other players, Austin Quick. Who amongst the old guard coming back has impressed you?
I would say Taylor would take the cake on that one. He's really taken a lot of strides this summer. I think he's looking forward to having a much bigger role on the team. He's been doing really well in practice, and he's always been a good defender. But I think this year he's going to be probably one of the best, if not the best, defenders in the entire league. Steve Jones also took a lot of a lot of steps this summer. I think it's that freshman to sophomore. They kind of know what they're getting themselves in for now, and so yeah, Steve Jones and Taylor, I reckon, really took some good strides this summer. I'm excited to see what they bring to the table come our first game.
Well, this is your senior season, actually the first year in a while that you've played on the same squad for back-to-back years after going through the community college gauntlet. What are you expecting from yourself as a senior, both on a personal level as well as on the court?
Well, yeah, this is the first time I've, as you said, been on 2 teams in a row. I can't remember the last time I was returning on the same team. This is my 4th year, 4th different head coach. So, but you know, I think for the most part, this team structure is going to be similar to what I was last year, but a lot better. From this year, you know, I expect a lot from myself. I hold myself to a pretty high standard. I just expect myself to kind of get better on every level and help the team win more games. That's the main thing. I don't want my senior year to be remembered. I want it to be remembered for winning games. That's my main thing. So this year, I just want to kind of bring a winning culture and winning mentality to this team, this program.
You mentioned it a little bit with that answer, but what are the team goals for this year? Have you articulated anything specific?
Yeah, you know, this team set some pretty lofty goals for ourselves. We sat down with the coaching staff and spoke about that, most of which I would like to keep in-house. I think that's something sort of between us and the team, but you know, there's no doubt we expect to be the last team remaining and cutting down nets. We've all said that that's what we'd like to do. We're not playing for 2nd or 3rd or moral victories. So, you know, this team's got a long way to accomplish the goals, but certainly we have set ourselves some pretty high standards, all of which we really think we can achieve.
You talk about cutting down the nets in March. What are the things that will have had to happen along the way for this team to grow into the team that can be cutting down the nets come March?
You know, this team's got a long way to go still. It's still really early days, and we're not 100% sure what we're going to get, what we've got ourselves in for. Just with you know, this team's got a lot of figuring out to do within itself. But you know, we're going to have to put in a lot of work. Practice is going to be real tough. There's not going to be a whole lot of fun practices, and you got to kind of, Coach Cutts always says, you got to embrace the grind, and that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to enjoy the long practices, and then the flights and the bus rides, and then getting off a bus and practicing, getting off a flight and practicing, and just growing each day. Each day that we get a chance to either play or have a shoot around or have a practice, we got to grow and get a little bit better. You know, if we can do that, I think we've got a really good chance.
Well, Chris, thanks for joining us today. Good luck to you and the Highlanders this season.
Thank you.